Now discuss part B of the same question paper. Part B, first is module 1, this portion, question number 11 and 12. There are two questions from module 1. You have to answer any one question. First question, I will read the question. Question 11A. A rock 9 meter long is connected at A and B, 2 points on the same level, 8 meter apart. A load of 300 Newton is suspended from a point C on the rock, 3 meter from A. What load connected to a point D on the rock, 2 meter from B, is necessary to keep portion CD parallel to AB? This question I have discussed in detail in my lecture video 10. This is discussed in 10, and the link of that answer session will be given below in the description box. So you can view it from there. So I'm not going to repeat it. Question 11B, concurrent forces 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 Newton applied to the center of a regular hexagon acting towards its vertices as shown in figure. Determine the magnitude and direction of the resultant. It's 9-mark question. So this is the diagram. A regular hexagon. A hexagon means the total angle at the center is 360. So each of this angle, the angle subtended by each side. So this side subtend an angle of 60 degree. Similarly, this side subtend an angle of 60 degree. Each of these angles will be 60 degree. A regular hexagon, angle subtended at the center by each side will be 60. That is only one thing you have to know. Now 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, these are the forces from the center to each vertices. The forces are acting. So this all the forces are acting at one point or passing through one single point. So these are concurrent force system. In the concurrent force system, we have to find out sigma fx, sigma fy, and root of fx square plus fy square will give you the resultant. So simply resolve it. Let us see what is sigma fx or sigma h. Horizontal forces. First, towards right it is positive. So 5. The 7, when you resolve it, it will be in this direction. So 5 cos 60, 7 cos 60 positive. This 9, when you resolve it, it will be along this side. So minus 9 cos 60, 11 towards left, so minus 11. This 1, when you resolve it, it will also come in this direction, resolving it. So it is 1 cos 60. This 3, when we resolve, it will be in this direction. So it is positive. So adding together, we get the sigma fx minus 6 Newton. Coming to sigma fy, let us see sigma fy. This 5 doesn't have any vertical component because it is purely horizontal, so it is 0. 7, its vertical component will be acting in this direction, downward. Angle with horizontal is 60, so the vertical component will be 7 sine 60 minus. For this 9 also, the vertical component will be downwards, 9 sine 60 minus. This 11, it is purely horizontal, so vertical component is 0. For this 1, the vertical component will be in this direction. So 1 sine 60 positive. For this 3 also, the vertical component will be in this direction, 3 sine 60. So totally you will get minus 10.39. I will mark it here. Minus 6 in this direction, x negative. Minus 10.39, y negative direction. So complete this rectangle. This will be the resultant. That is, it falls in the, if I draw the x, y, z positive, x, y positive directions, this is x positive direction, this is y positive direction. So this is falls in the third quadrant. 1, 2, 3. So the resultant is falling in third quadrant. The magnitude is square root fx square minus x square plus fy square. Angle. If angle with horizontal, I mark it as theta. Tan theta equals fy by fx. Fy by fx. So I'll get 1.732 or theta equals 60 degree. So the 60 degrees is with negative x-axis. Should be clearly mentioned. 12 Newton at 60 degrees with negative x-axis. Or If I want it with the positive direction, this is 180. So 180 plus theta. Theta dash equals 180 plus theta. 240 degrees with positive x direction. Okay, so that is 9-mark question. Moving on to question number 12A from module 1. A uniform wheel, 60 centimeter diameter, weighing 1000 Newton, rests against a rectangular obstacle, 15 centimeter height, as shown in figure. Find the least force required, which, when acting through the center of the wheel, will just turn the wheel over the corner of the block. So this is the question. Weight of the wheel is given 1000 Newton. We're asked to find out this force. There is an obstacle like this, which a block 15 centimeter height. The radius is 30 centimeter. So the wheel has a radius of 30 centimeter. And what should be this force? Minimum value of this force, so that this block, this wheel is moving over this obstacle. Okay, when the wheel just turn over the corner of this, what will happen? The contact at this surface will be lost. Okay, when the wheel just turn over this obstacle, contact with this point B on the floor will be lost. That is the most important thing. So there will not be any contact reaction. The normal mistake which you commit is that one. So there will not be any contact reaction or normal reaction at the point B. Now let us see, let us draw the free body diagram for this block. Free body diagram, this force P is acting there, self-weight acting through the center, W we have marked. Then this point there is a contact, so there will be a normal reaction from this block towards this. So there will be a normal reaction or contact reaction from A towards center. So I have marked it from A towards center. I have taken to the other side. So this point C is in equilibrium under W, RA and P. The question is find the value of P. I just mark this angle. Angle between this P and the normal reaction I have taken as theta. That is not given in the question. I have taken the angle between P and A as RA as theta. This angle which the reaction RA makes with horizontal can be obtained from trigonometry. Sine alpha is equal to opposite side, 15 divided by the hypotenuse. 15 by, this is radius, 15 by 30. So we get alpha is equal to 30 degrees. So now we come in the figure, apply this Lami's theorem. I have got all this angle theta is unknown to me. The angle which this reaction makes with horizontal, I have got now as 30 degree. So angle which it makes with vertical will be 60 degrees. So the angle which this reaction makes with vertical will be 60 degrees. So I can mark this total angle is 180. This is 60. This will be 120. 180 minus 60. This is 120. If this is theta, this is totally 180. So this is 180 minus theta. Easily apply Lami's theorem. 1000 by sine 180 minus theta. P divided by sine 120. RA divided by this angle 60 plus theta. Okay. Force divided by sine, the angle between the other two. From this, consider the first two. P is equal to 1000 into sine 120 divided by sine 180 minus theta. Our question is find the least value of P. So if P has to be least, this should be maximum. The denominator should be maximum. That is sine 180 minus theta, the maximum value is 1. Sine maximum value 1 means this 180 minus theta should be equal to 90 degree because sine 90 is 1. So 180 minus theta 90. So we'll get theta is equal to 90 degrees. So this angle between P and RA should be equal to 90 degree. So substitute this 90 degree in this expression. This is the expression for P, equation 1. You put theta equals 90, we'll get 866 Newton. Okay, so that is 5 marks question application of free body diagram and then applying the Lami's theorem. Moving on to question number 12b. The system of connected flexible cables shown in figure is supporting two loads, 550 Newton and 600 Newton, at points B and D respectively. Determine the tensions in the various segments of the cable. This is the question. Through weights 550 and 600, and this figure is given. Determine the tensions in various segments. So various segments means AB, BC, BD, DE. Okay, you have to find the tensions in the four segments. Let us come to, because in this joint, if you consider, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 forces, because tension in BA, tension in BC, tension in this BD, as well as weight. So for in this joint, weight 600 and tension in DB and tension in D. There are only 3 forces, so I consider the first joint as D. Considering joint D, if it is in equilibrium, this angle is 45 degree. So the angle which it makes with horizontal is also 45 degree. This is 45. So the angle with the horizontal, this will also be 45. Okay, that is marked here, 45. Tension is marked away from the joint. At the joint D, I have marked tension means the force acting away from the joint. Tension in DB, DB away from the joint, it is marked. This angle which it makes with vertical is 60 degree. Therefore, the angle which it makes with horizontal is 30 degree. 90 minus 60, 30 degree. So this is 30, this is 45, 75. Totally it is 180. So this will be 180 minus 75, 105. So we have got all the angles. Apply the Lami's theorem. 600 by sine 105 is equal to tension in DE divided by this much. This angle is 90. This is 90. 90 plus 30. Tension in DB divided by this much angle. So this is 90. So it is 90 plus 45. Solve it. We will get tension in DE as well as tension in DB. These two values are obtained. Now coming to joint B. Come to joint B. There is tension in BA, tension in BC, tension in BD, and the self-weight. Of this tension in BD is already got from the first step. So coming to joint B, this tension in BC away from the joint, BD away from the joint, BA away from the joint. Self-weight. There are 4 forces, so we cannot apply Lami's theorem. The rule for Lami's theorem is if only there are 3 concurrent forces acting at a joint and all of them are in the same direction, either they should be away from the joint or all of them should be towards the joint. We can apply Lami's theorem. That is the condition for Lami's theorem. So now we have to apply here sum of the horizontal forces, equilibrium equation. Sigma fx is equal to 0 and sigma fy is equal to 0. Consider fx is equal to 0. Resolving, TBA is negative, so minus TBA. TBC, if you resolve it, angle with vertical is 30. So this component is going to be cos 30. This component will be sin 30. So TBC sin 30 positive. Here TBD, angle with vertical is 60. So this component will be TBD sin 60. TBD sin 60 minus TBA is equal to 0. Of this TBD value is known. It is known to us. Now apply Fy is equal to 0. TBC is cos 30. This TBC vertical component will be in this direction. Angle with vertical is 30. So TBC cos 30 upward. This TBD component will be downwards. TBD sin cos 60. So it is minus 550 is equal to 0. Substitute TBD. So that you will get an equation in TBC and TBA. Okay. So we can, from here, the second equation, TBD is known, we can get TBC. Substitute this TBC in the first equation, we can get TBA. So it is simply application of free body diagram and equations of equilibrium. Next, we'll pass on to module 2. Module 2, there are 2 questions. You have to answer any one question. For the first question, 13a, find the force required to move a load 30 Newton up a rough inclined plane applied parallel to the plane. Inclination of the plane is such that when the same body is kept on a perfectly smooth plane inclined at an angle, a force of 6 Newton applied at an inclination of 30 degrees to the plane keeps the same in equilibrium. Assume coefficient of friction between the rough plane and the load is equal to 0.3. It's an interesting question in friction. Here, say case 1 is a body is kept on a smooth floor, kept on a smooth inclined plane. This inclination of the plane is not given to us. Weight of the block is 30 Newton. So the weight acts through the center of gravity or acts at the center vertically downwards. A force 6 Newton applied at 30 degrees with the inclined plane. So this is the inclined plane. A force applied at 30 degrees with the inclined plane. It will keep this body in equilibrium. Suppose this force is not applied, it has a tendency to slide down. So in order to prevent it sliding down, a force is applied upward direction at an angle of 30 degrees with this plane, so that this is in equilibrium. Okay, got it. Now we have to draw the free body diagram corresponding to this case. Let us consider this is a block of weight. Its weight is acting centrally downwards through its CG. This 30 Newton, we can resolve it into 2 components, one normal to this plane and one along this plane. That is done here. So if this angle is alpha, the angle between the vertical and the normal reaction, that will also be alpha. Angle between horizontal and the inclined plane is alpha. Angle between the perpendicular to the horizontal, that is this vertical line, perpendicular to the inclined plane, this will also be alpha. So when we resolve it, the component of weight along this direction, that will be W cos alpha, and the other one will be W sin alpha, that is marked here. The component of weight, if you want, I'll show it slightly enlarged. The component of weight along this direction is W cos alpha. Along the plane, it will be W sin alpha. Then the normal reaction will be acting in the opposite direction. From this plane in this direction. This is the normal reaction. If force 6 is applied, inclined, on resolving it, this will be 6 cos 30 and the other one will be 6 sin 30. So this is the free body diagram for the first case. I'll consider along the plane as x-axis and normal to the plane as y-axis, because almost all the forces are acting along and perpendicular to it. So we'll resolve it, consider the x-axis along the plane and y-axis normal to the inclined plane. So write down sigma Fy is equal to 0. Fy means resolve forces in this direction are acting upwards, 6 sin 30 acting upwards, W cos alpha acting downwards is equal to 0. Okay. R plus 6 sin 30 minus 30 cos alpha is equal to 0. That is one equation. Now, make sigma Fx is equal to 0. Resolve along this direction. 6 cos 30 minus W sin alpha. 6 cos 30 minus W sin alpha is equal to 0. From this, I'll get sin alpha is equal to 6 cos 30 by 30, so that I can get the inclination of the plane. Considering the first case where the body is in equilibrium in a smooth plane, since the surface is smooth, there will not be any friction. We get the inclination of the plane as 9.974. Keep it there. Now coming to the question, when the same body is kept on a rough plane, now the plane is rough, it has a tendency to come down. You are asked, in order that it doesn't come down, or if it is in equilibrium, what amount of force must be applied along the plane? Along the direction of the inclined plane, what must be the force applied? Okay. So here also we draw the free body diagram. In this case also, in the free body diagram, the normal reaction perpendicular to the surface. The weight is resolved W cos alpha and W sin alpha, and the force P is acting along the plane. Since this is a rough surface, in this question it is asked what force must be applied parallel to the plane to move the load up the plane. You have to make the load move up the plane. So motion is up, so the frictional force will be acting downwards. So these are the forces acting on this body. To solve it along the x direction, first I have written sigma Fy is equal to 0. Fy forces R1, W cos alpha acting downwards. Sigma Fy is equal to 0. That means R1 minus W cos alpha is equal to 0. From that we'll get R1 equals W cos alpha. W is 30. Alpha obtained from the previous step, you got this value R1. Now resolving horizontally, P minus W sin alpha minus mu R1. P minus mu R1 minus W sin alpha is equal to 0. From that we get R1 we got from the first step, substitute here. Alpha value we have got already. We will get the force is equal to 14.06 Newton. It is 7 marks. Moving on to question number 13b. For the beam shown in figure, determine the reactions at the supports. Support reaction is the easiest question in engineering mechanics statics if you know the concept. Just remember, in a hinge, at the support a hinge, there will be two reactions, a vertical reaction as well as a horizontal reaction. In roller, always the reaction will be perpendicular to the roller surface. There will be only one reaction which will be normal to the roller surface. So we draw the free body diagram, that is we remove the supports. At A, at the hinge RAV, RAH. In the roller, a reaction RB normal to the roller surface. So normal to the roller surface. So you have to get what is the angle. In this question, it is given the plane of the roller. It is inclined at 1 by 2. 1 by 2 means tan theta is equal to 1 by 2. Vertical by horizontal. Tan theta equals 1 by 2. From that we get 26.56. It is also given. That is the roller surface makes an angle of 26.56 with horizontal. So the normal reaction, this normal reaction, this is making an angle of, roller makes an angle of 26 with horizontal. So this reaction makes, because angle between the horizontal and inclined plane is the same as angle between the normal to the plane and vertical. So the RB makes an angle of 26.56 with vertical. If you remember this, it will be very easy. Okay, so in this case, the normal reaction RB, the reaction RB in the roller makes an angle of theta with vertical. So it has two components resolving RB cos theta. This is RB cos theta and the other one is RB sin theta. And the external loads, this 100, this inclined at 45, you have to resolve it into two. 100 cos 45 along this direction, 100 sin 45 in the vertical direction. 150. So this is the free body diagram. RAH, RAV. Here the reaction of the roller is normal to the roller surface and the reaction is inclined at 26.56 degrees with vertical. Now it is simply applying sigma Fx0, Fy0 and moment of the forces about any one point is equal to 0. Sigma Fx is equal to 0. RAH acting horizontal towards right. 100 cos 45 acting towards right. So RAH plus 100 cos 45. This RB sin theta, this is towards left. So minus RB sin theta is equal to 0. From that we'll get RAH minus, substitute this, sin theta, one equation. Sigma Y is equal to 0. RAV acting upwards. This RB cos theta acting upwards. So RAV positive, RB cos positive. 100 sin 45 acting downwards, so minus. 150 acting downwards, so minus is equal to 0. From this we get RAV plus 0.89 for RB is equal to 220.71. I have got two equations. Now the third equation, take moment about A and equate to 0. Moment about A. For this force, 100 sine 45 into 1 clockwise. 150 into 1.5 plus 1 plus 1, 2.5, 3.5. That's also clockwise. Now, this RB sine theta passes through A. This doesn't have any moment component. RB cos theta, it produces anti-clockwise moment. RB cos theta into 1.5, 3, 4, 5. So that is written here. 100 sine 45 into 1, 150. RB cos into 5 is equal to 0. From that we get RB. Once you get RB, from the second equation, if you get RB, you can get RAV. Here also, you put RB, you can get RAH. So you have got RAV as well as RAH. RAV upwards, positive. This is negative, so towards left. So this is in the second quadrant. Root of RAV square plus RAH square will give you the total resultant. Angle which makes horizontal, theta is equal to vertical by horizontal. So we'll get theta 83.73 degrees with horizontal. Or if you want the resultant, what angle makes it vertical, 90 minus theta. 90 minus 83 will give you 6.27 with vertical. I mentioned this because in the most of the answer keys, they give the answer with vertical also. Okay, so now I can mark it in the figure to make it more clear. The horizontal beam is marked. The reaction RB is marked normal to the surface, 26.56 with vertical. Here, RAH towards left, or you can mark here also. You can mark RAH towards left, RAV upwards. RAV is acting along this line. RAV is acting upwards, so the reaction, the total reaction will be along this line. And it is inclined at 83 degrees with horizontal or 6.27 with vertical. Shown here, RAH towards left, RAV upwards. So this is the reaction, and the reaction is inclined at 83 degrees with horizontal, or it is inclined at 6.27 with vertical direction. So this is a question of 7 marks. Moving on to question number 14. A uniform ladder, 4 meter long, it weighs 200 Newton. It is placed against a wall, making an angle of 60 degrees with the floor. Coefficient of friction between the wall and the ladder is 0.25, and between the ground and the ladder is 0.35. Ladder, in addition to its own weight, has to support a man 1000 Newton at the top at B. Calculate the horizontal force P to be applied to the ladder at the ground level to prevent slipping. If the force is not applied, what should be the minimum inclination of the ladder with the horizontal so that it does not slip with the man at the top? There are 2 parts for the question. We'll see one by one. A ladder, it is leaning against a wall. It's taking an angle of 60 degrees. The length of the ladder is given as 4 meters. It is in addition to its weight. Its self-weight is 200 Newton. It acts at the center. An additional weight of 1000 Newton is at the top, at the point B. The coefficient of friction between the wall and the ladder is given 0.25. Coefficient of friction between the floor and the ladder is given 0.35. So these are the given data. In the first case, when a ladder is kept like this, the tendency is to slip down. At this point, it has a tendency to come down, and this edge, it has a tendency to move towards right or move outwards. Okay, so this is the direction of motion. This comes down on this ladder, slips towards right. In order to prevent this slipping, we have to apply some force in the opposite direction. This is P. So the question is, what should be the force applied to the ladder in this horizontal direction so that it doesn't slip? This is the question. Let us draw the free body diagram. The ladder example, the first step is draw the free body diagram. So remove these surfaces. I have shown just vertical lines and horizontal line. This is the ladder, inclined at 60 degrees. The forces, mark the forces, 1000 Newton acting at the top, self weight acting at the center. If it is 4 meter, this will be acting at 2 meter from here. Now, and this surface, there is a normal reaction, RB, perpendicular to this wall. This end of the ladder comes down, so the frictional force is acting up, opposite to that, point mu RB, 0.25 RB. Here, this is the normal reaction between the floor and the ladder. Here, the ladder has a tendency to move outwards. So, the frictional force will be acting opposite to that, 0.35 RA. So, we have marked all the forces. This is the free body diagram. Once you get the free body diagram, the thing is only apply sigma Fx0, sigma Fy0, and moment of fall sigma M0. 3 equations of equilibrium. So, first of all, apply Fx is equal to 0, RB towards right, so positive, 0.35 RA towards left, P towards left. So, RB minus 0.35 RA minus P equal to 0, equation 1. Okay, this is first equation. Now, sigma Fy is equal to 0, 0.25 RB upwards, RA upwards. So, RA plus 0.25 RB minus 1000, it's acting down, minus 200 is equal to 0. So, that is second equation. Now, these two equations have rewritten 0.35 minus RB equals P. Here I have written RA plus 0.25 RB equals 1200. Just rearrange. Now, third equation is sigma M equal to 0. Here, there are 3 forces acting at joint A. Similarly, 3 forces acting at joint B. So, we can take moment about any of these points. So, I'll take moment about point A. So, point A, if I have to take moment, first of all, this RB into this perpendicular distance. From this point A, perpendicular distance to the line of action. This is the perpendicular distance, OB. It produces a clockwise moment. RB into OB. Then this 0.25 RB, that also produces a clockwise moment. The perpendicular distance is line of action of this 0.25 RB. So this is the perpendicular distance, OA. Okay, I have written here RB into OB, 0.25 RB into OA. That are the two positive moments. What about this 1000? 1000 into perpendicular distance, this is OA. 1000 into OA, that is anti-clockwise. 200 into this AD, that is also anti-clockwise. So I have written RB into BO, 0.25 RB into OA, 1000 OA minus 200 DA equals 0. Now find these OB, OA, DA, etc. from trigonometry. From the trigonometry of this figure, OA, this is OA. How will you find out? This is 60 degrees. This is 4 meter. So cos 60 is equal to OA by 4. So OA is equal to 4 cos 60, 2 meter. Here, considering this small triangle ADC, this is 2 meter, this is 60 degree. AD by AC or AD by 2 is equal to cos 60 or AD is equal to 2 cos 60. Now, this OB, sin 60 is equal to OB by 4. So, OB is equal to 4 sin 60. OB is equal to 4 sin 60. All these distances I have got. You apply that in this equation and we will get RB. It is sigma M is equal to 0 in this equation. Apply OB, OA, OA, DA. So that only unknown is RB. We can get RB. Once you get RB, from this equation, RA plus 0.25 RB equals 1200, you get RA. Once you get RA, you substitute in this equation so that you will get P. Okay, so we have asked to find out the force. That is the first part of the question. Second part of the question, if you are not applying any horizontal force, what will happen? The ladder has a tendency to slip. So, in order to prevent that slipping, what is the maximum inclination of the ladder? In the first case, we are given theta is equal to alpha is equal to 60 degrees. Here we are asked to find out, we are not applying any force in the horizontal direction. What should be the value of alpha? So here, there is no horizontal force. All other things as earlier, 1000 Newton acting from top downward, 200 Newton acting downwards, the normal reaction RB, frictional force opposite to the motion 0.25 RB, normal reaction RA, frictional force 0.35 RA. There is no external force P. So you have to find out alpha. Here also, draw the free body diagram. This is the free body diagram. Sigma Fx is equal to 0. RB minus 0.35 RA is equal to 0. Sigma Fy is equal to 0. 0.25 RB plus RA minus 1000 minus 200 is equal to 0. So this is RB minus RA is equal to 0. RA plus 0.25 RB is equal to 1200. Solve between two equations RA and RB, get RA and RB. Now take moment about O. Sigma MA is equal to 0. Take moment about O and equate to 0. RB into OB. 0.25 RB into OA, positive. Minus 1000 into OA. Minus 200 into DA is equal to 0 as earlier. Can OB, OA, OA, DA, everything is in terms of alpha. Here we don't have the value of alpha as earlier. Here we have to find out alpha, or we have to find out OB as 4 sine alpha. OB we have applied 4 sine alpha. And OA 4 cos alpha. OA is 4 cos alpha. And DA is, this is 2, so it is 2 cos alpha. 2 cos alpha. So substituting all this, we'll get an equation. Sine alpha on this side, similar terms with cos alpha, club it together or add it together, we'll get 1544 sine alpha equal to this much cos alpha. Dividing throughout by cos alpha, or come to this side, sine alpha by cos alpha will be 4013 by 1544. Tan alpha equals to 2.598. From that we'll get 68.95 degrees. So first case, it was 60 degrees given in the question. When it is 60 degrees, we have to apply some horizontal force. Once the angle is slightly increased, it is made 68.95 degrees. There is no need to apply any horizontal force. It's a very beautiful question. 14 marks. Now let me move on to module 3. Find the moment of inertia about the x-axis and y-y axis. So this is the figure given to you. The figure composes of a triangle, this is a rectangle, and a semicircle. Okay, can split up into 3. Portion 1, triangle. Portion 2, rectangle. Portion 3, semicircle. This section is symmetrical about y-y axis. It is symmetrical about y-y axis. Therefore, there is no need to find out x bar. We have to find out only y bar. We have to locate the centroidal x-axis axis. Find y bar. That's the first step. So for finding y bar, I will divide it. Portion 1, triangle. Triangle area is half base into altitude. Half 6 into 6. Okay. Y. Y is, take the bottommost line as reference, and its center of gravity G1, I have marked it. Center of gravity of a triangle is acting at 1/3 h from the bottom. From its base, it is at h by 3. It is 6, so this distance is 6 by 3. Okay, 6 by 3 from here. So from the bottommost reference line, 2 plus 10 plus 4. It is written here, 6 by 3, 10, 4. The remaining is the calculations we can do later. Second area is rectangle. It is base is, width is 2, height is 10. So area is 2 into 10. 2 into 10. Its center of gravity G2. G2 will be from here, it will be, if it is 10, 10 by 2, 5 centimeter. 5 centimeter from here. So 5 plus 4, 9. Okay. The third area is a semicircle. Area of a circle is pi d square by 4. So for a semicircle, it will be pi d, half of pi d square or pi r square. Area of the circle is pi r square. So for a semicircle, it is pi r square by 2 because r is given here. 4 is the radius given, 4 centimeter is the radius given. So pi r square by 2 is the area. Now its CG, G3, its center of gravity of a semicircle will be acting at 4r by 3 pi from the base. 4r divided by 3 pi from its diameter. So this is 4r by 3 pi. So up to this, if you have to get the distance up to this, so it will be 4r by 3 pi. 4 is total height. 4 minus 4r by 3 pi. This is 4r by 3 pi. So from the bottom up to this, it will be 4 minus 4r by 3 pi. So you have got this also. So do a1 y1, a2 y2, a3 y3. Sigma a1 y1, sigma ay, sigma a. Then we'll get the centroidal distance y bar equals sigma ay divided by sigma a, 8.329 centimeter. So you have located the center of gravity of the entire section of this center of gravity of this section. The total section is at 8.329 centimeters from the bottommost line. Okay. Now, the question is not to find the center of gravity. The question is to find the moment of inertia of this section about xx and yy. So moment of inertia of a section is given by the formula. It is IgG plus AH square. What is IgG? Moment of inertia of a figure about its own centroidal axis plus AH square. A is area of that figure. H I have defined here. Because now we have got y bar 8.329. H is distance of the center of gravity of that particular figure from the centroid of the composite area. That means if I want H1 for this first triangle, this is the center of gravity of the triangle. This is the center of gravity of this entire section. So from here, the distance up to this is H1. Distance from the common centroidal axis up to the centroid of that particular portion considered. Instead of thinking much about it, we can just get it as y minus y bar. For the first section, we have already written what is y. Y1 is 16. Y bar is now got 8.329. So simply do 16 minus 8.329. Take the absolute value. Anyway, we are taking h square. Even if it is negative, doesn't matter. But being a distance, we take h, the absolute value. Y1 minus y bar. Similarly, for the second figure, it is 9 minus 8.329. For the third figure, 2.302 minus 2.302 minus 8.329. So it is negative. So I have taken the absolute value only. Okay, this is how you get h. Now, IgG, moment of inertia of each figure about its centroidal axis. For a triangle, the moment of inertia about its centroidal axis, about this axis is BHQ by 36. So BHQ by 36. For a rectangle, it is BDQ by 12. For a semicircle, the moment of inertia about its centroidal axis is 0.11 r raised to 4. 0.11 r raised to 4. So these are the IgG values. AH square, A is here, 18. H is here. So you can write AH square. AH square. This is A, this is H. You can write AH square also. Since I have not space here, otherwise we can put a row here also, a column here. Here itself we can write IXX. IXX is nothing but IgG plus AH square. IgG plus AH square. Add these two together and write here. Add these two together, write here. Write this one and this, add together and write in the this next column. Since the space was not there, I have written it separately. For the first figure, IgG plus AH square. For the second figure, 166 plus 9. For the third, 28.16 plus 912. If you have given it in this tabular form, sigma of this, add it all together. So adding all together, we will get the total moment of inertia of this entire section about the centroidal x-axis. Similarly, if you want to find the moment of inertia about the y-axis, about this axis, for this y-axis coincides with the base of this triangle. If you consider this triangle, it is the base of this triangle. Similarly, for this triangle also, it is a base. Okay, so I can write Iyy of first figure as moment of inertia about base of this triangle for 1, then multiply it 2, because it can be split up into 2 triangles. So Iyy I have written as 2 triangles. So moment of inertia of a triangle about its base is BHQ by 12. So 2 times BHQ by 12. For a rectangle, it is DBQ by 12. Depth is 10. Moment of inertia of this rectangle about this axis is 10 into 2q by 12. And for the semicircle, for a semicircle, this is its y-axis. So for a circle, about its diameter, this vertical axis as well as horizontal axis moment of inertia, this is pi d raised to 4 by 64 totally. So for a semicircle, for the semicircle, it will be pi d raised to 4 by 128. Pi d raised to 4 by 128, or when you convert it into in terms of r, moment of inertia about the base for a semicircle is pi r raised to 4 by 8. So for this semicircle, this moment of inertia is pi r raised to 4 by, substituting this, pi r raised to 4 by 8, we'll get the moment of inertia of the entire section about y axis. So with that, moment of inertia about for a semicircle is pi r raised to 4 by 8. We'll get the total moment of inertia of that section about x-axis as well as y axis. Now moving to question number 16. So the first question, moment of inertia question was full question, 14 marks. And the next one is question number 16. I'll read it. A force P is directed from a point A, 414, towards a point B, minus 341 meters. Determine the moment of force P about x and y axis if it produces a moment of 1000 Newton meter about z axis. It's a question from forces in spaces. A simple question when compared to the moment of inertia. It takes less time only. Say force F, it acts through 2 points A and B. It is given point A 414 and point B minus 34 minus 1. And we are given moment of this force about a point O. Moment about Z axis. So a point O is a 3-dimensional force system. About the Z axis, there are 3 axes. This is X, this is we consider Y, and this is the Z axis. Moment of that force about the Z axis is given 1000. If so, what is the moment about Y axis and X axis? This is the question. Okay. What about the moment? The force F, magnitude is not given. Magnitude is given as P. So we have to find out the vector. In 3-dimensional space system, everything should be converted into vector. Force is a vector, moment is vector, position vector. Okay, so we have to find out the vector F. Force vector F is obtained as magnitude of force into unit vector. That is the direction vector. If you get the direction vector AB, direction vector divided by the absolute value will give you the unit vector. So any force vector F is given by magnitude into unit vector. To find the unit vector, this is the direction of the force. So unit vector in direction AB is obtained as lambda AB. So B minus A. So you have to take xb minus xa minus 3 minus 4i, yb minus ya 4 minus 1j, zb minus za minus 1 minus 4k. So it will work out to minus 7i plus 3j minus 5k divided by root of 7 square plus 3 square plus 5 square. So 9.11. So this is the unit vector in the direction of the force. So the force vector F is equal to magnitude of force P into this unit vector. So this is the force vector. Now, moment of a force about any point is given by R cross F. So moment about origin is equal to, from the origin, you connect any point in the line of action of the force. I am connecting O to the point A in the line of action of the force. So O to A, OA. Get the position vector ROA. So the moment is equal to ROA cross F. So we have to find ROA. So it is A minus O. A, the coordinate of A is given. Coordinates of A are 4, 1, 4. Coordinate of O, 0, 0, 0. So 4i plus 1j plus 4k is a position vector. So now find out the product. Cross product ijk, position vector 414, force vector p by 9.11 I have taken outside, minus 7, 3, minus 5. Take the cross product, p by 9.11, I into minus 5 minus 12, it is minus 17, minus j into minus 20 plus 28, minus 8, k into 12 plus 7. So this is the moment of the force about point O. Now in the question it is given, so there is a total moment vector. The components are mx, my, mz. The moment is mxi plus myj plus mzk. This is the vector representation. In the question it is given mz is equal to 1000. So let us compare. mz is equal to 1000. That means p by 9.11 into 19. This is equal to 1000. From that we can get p, the magnitude of the forces obtained. Then moment about x-axis. Moment about x-axis will be p by 9.11 into minus 17. So p by 9.11 into minus 17. Substitute for p from here. This is the moment about x-axis. Moment about y-axis, p by 9.11 into minus 8. So we'll get minus 421. So this is also 14 marks question. So the amount of work, the computation time is much less compared to a problem of computation of moment of inertia. So when you get choice between the questions, adopt the one which requires less time. So with that, we come to the end of the answering of questions of statics, part A as well as part B. That is module 1, 2, and 3. Module 4 and 5 is dynamics. It is already answered and the video link will be given below in the description box. Thank you. Do well in the upcoming university exam. Go through these questions. I have given the answer to January 2021 question paper also. Once you go through these two question papers, 10 plus 10, 20 part A questions you get answered. So in order to get a minimum pass, just 28 marks is required out of 70. So if you answer 30 marks question, nearly 20 marks you may get if you completely write the questions. Or if you write it full, you can get 28 marks itself. So do study the part A questions of all the previous university question papers, and minimum number of questions, even from support reactions or equilibrium equations, module 1, module 2, module 3 are really very, very easy. The dynamics questions are also module 4 and 5 when compared to statics questions takes less time. So try to answer that first so that you can save the time, and keep it in mind all these simple tips, and do come out with good colors in the upcoming examinations. Best wishes. Thank you.